But has anybody in the room ever heard of the phrase, well, if your friends would jump off a bridge, would you? I know growing up I heard it all the time. And I always wondered to myself, what would I do if I was actually in that scenario? And I just want to tell you, I would. I remember back being in Bible school full of wisdom and knowledge and bravery, if you can call it that. A group of guys, and myself included, I am a guy. I don't know why I had to. Is my face matching my hair yet? But I remember we were all being so wise and so full of counsel and all this. We decided that to kill some time, we'd just go jump off a bridge into some water so it was safe. And so we got to the bridge, but the bridge in specific, it's no longer, it's been torn down. I don't know, I think Marissa said it was called the Marysville Bridge, but I don't know, I think it's outside. I don't know where it is. Anyway. So we were sitting at the dorms, and I remember I was like, I can do it. I was full of confidence, and the closer we got to that bridge, I was like, I don't even know what I'm getting myself into anymore. And finally we get there, and there's these two guys in particular. They're like kids at a playground. They're jumping off, they're hitting the water, they're running they're swimming to the side, running back up and jumping down again. And I was just like, oh my word, I got to do this at least once. And so I puffed my chest out and shaking, I grabbed the side of the bridge and white-knuckled. I get to the other side and I look down and I think, that's a lot of air between me and that water down there. And so finally I took my supposed leap of faith, trusting my friends that everything was going to be fine. And I can gladly say I was fine. But the point that I want to make tonight is if I could trust my friends to jump off a bridge, how much more can we trust in God that everything in our situations will work out fine? How much more can we trust that God is looking after everything that is around us? Even when things don't necessarily look like they're going to pan out. I want to remind somebody tonight that God has it already worked out. That we don't need to worry. I know the human experience makes us want to worry, makes us want to fear. But if God can do amazing things that we read in the Word of God, what should we even worry about? The disciples, they trusted Jesus with everything in them. One time in particular, they got into a boat feeling like it was just another average day. And as they're going across the Galilee, going across the water, Jesus decides to go for a nap. And they're just probably chatting and whatever. And all of a sudden, this huge storm just rolls in out of nowhere. And they're they're terrified out of their lives, thinking that they're going to die because they hear the winds howling and they can feel the waves crashing. And so they run downstairs and find Jesus. And this is what they say in Matthew chapter 8, verse 25 to 26. It says, and his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. And he said unto them, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and he rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was in their circumstance, I'd probably be doing the exact same thing. Seeing what they seen and feeling the fear that they were going to lose their lives when they trusted Jesus to get onto this boat and to sail across the water. But the reality is when God is on the scene and when God is working, there's nothing to fear. But what we can do in those circumstances when we don't know what we can do is the one thing we can do is to trust God and know that He will get us through it. If God brings us to a storm, He'll bring us through the storm. It may be fearful, but I want to remind someone tonight to trust in God. He knows what you're going through. He knows how terrible it is. And even if you feel like nobody hears you, nobody understands you, I just want to be a voice to remind you tonight. God sees you and God knows what your next step is. And He's walking with you every step of the way. So I know you might be full of fear, but I say that God is going to walk you through it. You don't have to worry. You don't have to overcomplicate it. It's just as simple. Just trust in the Master. And everything will work out. I've never seen the righteous forsaken. I've never been in a situation where it ended where God just left me on my own. And I know I'm full of a room of people who believe in that exact same thing, that they can testify that God has been good every single situation that they have been in. Sometimes we get into storms or situations that we don't know necessarily the answer or why they're even happening. Sometimes it can seem like, well, why is this even happening to me? But I want to tell someone that there's a little bit more to the story. Sometimes storms aren't just for us, but they're for someone else. See, on the other side, where Jesus had taken them through the storm, there was two men who were in desperate need of the gospel. There was a city, there was a people that needed it, but they had to go through the storm. So I tell you tonight that you might be going through something that you feel is way above what you understand, but what is waiting on the other side of your situation? Who is waiting on the other side of your storm? Because I tell you, God will take us to meet people that we would have never ever crossed paths with until we went through that storm. And so I want to remind somebody tonight, I know that you may be full of fear, or maybe life is great. I don't know what someday we may go through a storm. But I want to remind somebody tonight that if we trust in God, everything will work out. And I wonder if you believe with me tonight, if we could just raise our hands and just believe and trust in God.